Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well and staying healthy and safe. This is Radhika here again, and this video is going to be about benefits of mastering the five elements and how that will help you overcome the narcissistic situations that you have been through in your life. So, the five elements that I'm talking about are earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and I'll just give like a short introduction of each of them, and in the end we can discuss how balancing all of these will help you in first healing through everything that you have been through in your narcissistic situation, and also how staying balanced in this will also help you in future if any other narcissistic situations show up in your life. So let's start with earth. So earth element is the first element that you should start with. So earth is what keeps us grounded. It's the gravity of a situation. Like how they say, you have to understand the gravity of a situation. So sometimes when a person is not really grounded in reality, they don't understand the gravity of their actions. So the more in touch with reality you are, or the more balanced in the earth element you are, the more stable you are, the more secure you are, whenever a bad situation approaches your life, you will clearly and quickly understand what is the impact that this situation is going to have on my life. And if you are not so grounded, if you are kind of a person who is like more of a space cadet, you live in your la la land, or you want to give people benefit of doubt even when they show you who they are, or you see a situation but then you try to make excuses for it, or you're trying to create a story around it, that oh, maybe this happened or that happened and that is why it is like this. So all of these are blockages that you create in order to not see reality as it is. And this can come from like a childhood wound where the reality that you were brought up in was very painful for you. So you kind of developed this part of you um, which lives in a fantasy la la land sort of a place, or you make up an image of yourself which is not very true. And you kind of try to live your life through via this la la land or fantasy that you create. So yeah, so when you balance in your earth element, the fantasy element, it's not totally gone, it's there, because in some ways creativity or art, it makes our life more beautiful, or it gives us a mechanism to escape from the mundane reality of life. But it has to be in balance where you actually understand that I am entering into like a fantasy land now, this is not the reality. And when you kind of lose that distinction, that's when it becomes like a mental disorder for a lot of people. So earth element is very very important. And so yeah, that's the benefit of balancing your earth. Then the next element that you should look at is water. So water is related to your sacral chakra. Earth was related to your root chakra. So water is an element of flow, right? Water always flows, and like not always, frozen water doesn't flow, but in its liquid state water flows. And so it's like an indication of your feelings or of your emotions. And balancing the water element teaches a person to feel their emotions and to let them flow. So people who don't feel their emotions are not the people who don't have emotions, because everyone has emotions without fail, right? But people who say, oh, I don't feel emotions, or I'm not very emotional, what they do is they actually deny their emotions. And when you deny your emotions stay in you and they become repressed. So Basically everyone has emotions and you need to let your emotions flow. So if you're feeling sad, you have to feel sad. If you're feeling happy, you have to feel happy. You cannot create a fear of your emotions. If you do, then you will suffer its consequences, because then the emotions will get blocked up in your body, and it spoils a lot of things. It spoils your relationships, it spoils your relationship with yourself. um, so yeah, water element is helpful in that way. It helps you release your emotions and feel them. Then the next element is fire. So fire is usually associated with your Manipur chakra, which is your third chakra, your solar plexus chakra. And this is the element which gives you energy. So this is your drive to do something in the world, to be something in the world, to like how we say that that person has a lot of fire in his belly. So that means they want to do something, they are on fire. So that means they are a lot in the action oriented energy. They want to do things, they want to prove themselves, they want to show something to the world. So that is the fire element. If you don't have enough fire, that means you might not be very motivated in life, or you might be like a little bit tired. So sometimes when your fire goes down, it's kind of like you need to rest a little bit, and then it will come back up again. When you are rested, when your body, mind, spirit is rested, then you might get some inspiration, some idea, and you might want to do work on that a little bit more. So that's the fire element. So it's the capacity of an individual to do things in the world. And when you're with a narcissistic person, oftentimes this element gets affected a lot. All of them get affected, but the fire especially gets affected. That's why you see a lot of people who have dealt with narcissistic situations go into depression. And in depression, really the one thing that gets very very affected is your motivation to do even the simplest of things. Like you don't want to get up in the morning, you don't want to brush your teeth, you don't want to have breakfast, you just don't want to live, basically. So that is your fire element, which gets extremely affected when you have been in a narcissistic situation for a long time. So that's fire. Then the fourth element is air. So air is represented by the heart chakra, and air is actually your thoughts, and not your feelings but your thoughts. And your thoughts are actually coming not just from your brain but also from your heart. So it's a connection between your heart and your brain. And when your heart and your brain are not in sync, you tend to overthink. So anyone who overthinks is actually missing a sync between their brain and their heart, because their heart is telling them one thing, but their brain is telling them another thing. So the brain often works from conditioning, and the heart often gives you the answer that you need. But when your brain is guarding your heart very strongly, your heart and your brain are going to give you different answers. So you kind of have to work on getting them in sync together, your heart and your brain, and then your air element is balanced. And air element is often related to intellect, to understanding, to wisdom, to empathy, uh, to inspiration, to ideas, etc. So yeah, that is the air element. And as you know, if you have been in a narcissistic situation, you overthink a lot. You have something like called as a brain fog, because you have been gaslighted a lot in the narcissistic relationship. So your ability to trust your own thoughts is damaged. So air element balancing is also necessary a lot of times you um, when you have been in a narcissistic situation. Then the next element is ether. So ether is a little bit hard to explain, but think of ether like a possibility of anything and everything. So ether is like the god substance, or like it's like imagination from which anything can be created. So that is the substance of ether. And ether is often related to all the chakras beyond the heart chakra, like throat chakra, third eye chakra, sahasra chakra. All of them are kind of go into the spiritual realm or etheric realm, where you're actually connecting with something, um, you can say superhuman, or something which is of a sense of oneness, like the oneness that connects everyone. So you're kind of connecting to that realm through your ether element. So ether is very useful in manifesting things, and um, it's just useful for wisdom. Basically, you're downloading a lot of things when you connect to the ether element. You're downloading understanding, you're downloading um, like results for situations, or sudden wisdom, sudden insights, all of that comes from the ether element when you connect to that. So if you balance out all of these elements, you will connect to the ether element, and then you will be guided by something which is a little bit beyond you, a little bit beyond all humans, which people call God or source or consciousness or whatever you want to call it. um, so yeah, so basically, how do you benefit? So as I said, balancing of all these elements is necessary to live a good and balanced life yourself. And when you have been in a narcissistic situation, a lot of these elements in your body go out of whack. So that is a necessary part of the healing when you heal these elements. And another benefit is that if you remain in this kind of balanced state, whenever something comes into your life and the thing that comes is out of balance, you will clearly understand that this thing that I have introduced or has been introduced in my life is kind of taking me off balance. And you can take whatever other remedial actions in order to again balance your life. And if you have a balanced life, you won't go into the really bad stuff that happens when you are in narcissistic situations. You will often be able to like handle it before it gets too bad. So yeah, those are the benefits of mastering the five elements. And I hope this video helps you in some way, and as always, I wish you all a lot of love and a lot of light. Thank you. Bye.